I mean, you know, everything we know, right? I think, they're an experienced team. Um, they they have a lot of vets that know their roles. They've championship players, guys have won championships, and a coach that won championships. So I just look at it as a great challenge, and an exciting challenge, right? I think pretty cool first round. You're playing the Miami Heat with all their history and tradition, and so great for the fans. And I know this, it's going to make us a better ball club, right? Like you face a team like this again with their experience and championship experience. It's it's um, it's kind of exciting, and I think I do think with all that being said, we really have been focusing on ourselves and trying to get ready. It's almost a little bit of a blessing in a sense. 90% of the time we've been like, because sometimes you can focus too much on the opponent. So I'm kind of glad our prep um, was focused on us and getting ourselves better and doing our individual work. It almost got us back on the routine we've been doing all season, starting from training camp.
How much will you use just Max's knowledge as a resource? Do you pick his brain a lot?
He was most vocal in film today and added 3 or 4 tidbits. Couple strategic points on their style of play. Then he knows the personnel, right? Gave a couple of things the coaches didn't bring up. So yeah, it helps, I think.
What do you make of their team going to next level
You want, I think, they say clutch play is like random, right? Like that could turn around easily. And I think, and I haven't followed the Heat closely, but I think they've had a lot of kind of change and lineup changes and trying to really find who their group was, and the trade happens, now they get a new group and Wiggs. So I think it's harder to execute when you don't have continuity. We have continuity, and that helps in the game, clutch situations. So it's definitely not coaching. We know Spoke, and is a heck of a coach. So yeah.
And then when you get to this point in the season, there's no such thing as like not respecting your opponent. Everybody's earned it. But is there an added level just because the Heat, they are the last team to be an 8 seed in year one and done this having won playing in Colorado in the finals?
Yeah, I mean, in everything. I think I meant to kind of move in that direction. Yeah, in my mind, they're not a 10th seed, right? Like, I think because of circumstances, they took a while to get their group together, but I knew when that Wiggs came on board, and I get Davion, who's really good. Like, you gotta look at their team, and you know, they're a little bit of a 10 seed because of circumstances. They're much better than a 10 seed. But I just talking to Donovan, like you have to welcome that, right? Like it's going to be a heck of a challenge and a heck of a series, and I whatever happens is we're going to get better. We're going to improve, whether it's for series down the road, future, all of it. This is going to make all of us better. So that's part of the reason for the excitement to play these guys.
You were named Coach of the Year from the Coaches Association, not us, media bozos. So what does it mean to you to have that level of recognition from your peers?
I love the media.
I love that.
I do. I like hanging out. I mean, we have fun. Like really, we do. I'm not one of these people that, oh man, I never, like roll my eyes. I enjoy it. I enjoy the interact. We're all like kind of in the same boat, right? We're passionate about sports and the NBA and all that. So I enjoy this time. Listen, when your peers name you Coach of the Year, and I look at the list of all the guys that have won, but all the guys you face every night, right? Like, and they actually think you're the coach of the year, it's a little bit surreal, right? Like it's, I know this has been a special year, and I know it's about, our team's success. But listen, I think Dan Gilbert took a risk hiring me, right? Like that's a risk, right? And Kobe, same thing, like believed in me, and that's a big part of it. And you get this group of players that trusted, kind of the staff, and it's just all those things together. You're just thankful and it's.
I know when Miami was here in March, we talked about their zone and
Yeah.
how they run that more than anybody else in the league. What are the challenges of having to prepare for that for a full playoff series as opposed to one game?
Yeah, it's it's an added layer. It adds on to your prep. But again, love it, right? Love the challenge. Like now you gotta break out your little zone offense. How you gonna attack it? You look at the film. You talk to the guys, and it's a part of that. I think we do some things that they'll have to prepare for. It's just part of the fun, kind of the strategic fun of coaching in a playoff series like this.
How much do you look at the 3 games you guys played against them in the regular season to prepare for this?
It's got to be a balance. It's that, but also with the changes they've made. It's like, look at certain guys that aren't there, and this is a new team. They got Wiggs, and like I said, Davion, they're playing a different style. Slow-mo was playing more, like, and so you got, and that wasn't happening in our games. But I always like to look at our games to see matchups, like, hey, how did Evan match up with that? Bam. Where did Jay look like against where? You do want to get a feel for those games and how your guys performed against their guys. So I say it's almost 50-50 the breakdown between watching your games and watching their recent games.
You mentioned the clutch randomness
Yeah.
topic. How random do you think it is?
I don't know. That's what they tell me all the time. It's
Who tells you
completely
that?
random. Our lovely analytics group. I wish they were here so they could explain it all. I don't know. I always say it's a mix. Like it really is. It's a mix. Probably the randomness has to do with the expected stuff. Did you make the shot or miss it? Basically. But I'd like to see we control that more than they think. I will say the way the game's played now, it's almost like instead of stopping the play and running the play, you want to get into an action quick. And action is not necessarily called from the bench. It's talked about before. Who do we want in the action? What do we want our spacing to be? So it's almost like the pre-prep is super important because a lot of it becomes random and you have to be able to read in the moment.
Donovan spoke a lot about building habits throughout the regular season. Even in training camp, he was talking about that. Do you feel like you guys did build those habits over this 82-game stretch? And what are those things you guys can lean back on in this time of year?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. That's what I told the guys this morning. I said, listen, someone said to me, oh, are you ready to, like, it's the playoffs, you ready to turn it on? I'm like, we've been doing this since August, right? Like, our habits and our preparation and our work, like, if you really believe in that, kind of process oriented and believe in your habits, and you know, that was a big part of our presentation to the guys. We got to improve our habits, right? And I think we have. I think it's a big reason we've had the season we've had. Now Donovan, he's elite. You know, he's always been elite with his habits, but it seems like with the rest of the group, you know, he helped bring them along to kind of another level. And then from a coaching standpoint, we embraced that, and we brought the performance team and the medical, all them into our kind of fold, and the players knew that it was super important. So I'm glad to see we you know, there were results behind it.
What is the biggest difference between playoff and regular season basketball?
So the game slows down. There's no, you know, that it's kind of fact. Teams miss more shots. Effective field goal percentage goes down. And the physicality, whether the referees want to admit it or not, increase. You know, and it just does. Those are, from my point of view, those are the kind of three things, and that's why I think the possession game becomes super important. It's almost like NFL. You can't turn it over. If possessions are going to be a smaller amount of possessions, teams are going to miss more. You got to take care of it. You got to be able to rebound the ball. So that's been a big point of emphasis for ours. We got to be in the plus. You know, when we look at that, you know, and the game stat sheet, we want to be plus possession and give us a greater chance to win, and that's where we're playing on the margins here. So I think our guys understand that.
One last question.
You were talking earlier this week about, you know, even though Darius is 25, you'd love for him to be 28
Yeah.
for this playoff run. What do you look for when you're evaluating a mature basketball player in the playoffs?
It's everything. There's, you know, interaction with the referees, interaction on the bench, reaction to the turnover, you know, your approach in shoot around. And listen, he's in the 94th percentile of all that, right? Like in terms of being really good, it's like, but, you know, I think fast forward 3 years, he's going to be in like the 100th percentile, like, because it's just part of the, it's part of it, and I yelled at him at practice yesterday because there was something that went on. It was a little thing, but it was like, this is, you know, kind of, this is what I'm talking about. And I think it was reaction to the referee, or got hit, and what's just going to happen in the playoffs. Like, you're going to get hit. We're going to hit you every which way. How are we going to react? You know, kind of like next play. You're going to have the next play mentality, because you're going to be a target because you're a great player. And he's been stupendous this year for the most part. But we need him to take it even to another level.
Okay, let's go around for
Thank you.
coach.